Hey, welcome back here to the Marvelous McGlestons. On today's episode, I'm going to demonstrate 2 ways to be able to paint aspen trees or birch trees. This way was done where the background was painted first, where this one was done where the trees were painted first and the background was done secondly. So I hope you enjoyed this episode to see the difference. I actually ended up really liking both of them, but please leave a comment on the bottom after you've watched the video which one you prefer, background first or trees first. Thanks, let's jump right into it. What I'm doing right now is simply wetting down the first example. I'm going to be doing both paintings simultaneously of one another, but I want to be able to show you the process of doing the background first, and then this one I'm not going to put any water on, and I'm going to do the trees first. And then the technique of how to paint the trees are going to be similar. This is actually a quicker process, less detail, but I just wanted enough time for this water to soak in a little bit here to the paper, so then that way it gives a better results of what I'm looking for. This is going to be end of autumn, early winter time frame. So let's put a little bit of just some lightness back in here. Honestly, it doesn't have to be much because this is very light detail just to be able to show that it's not white. Okay, we've got a little green down in here. Actually, let's go for more brown. Okay, just enough to... Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let this top part dry while I work on the bottom part. This is still completely dry. And so the first thing is going to be the trees, and then when this section dries up here above, I'm gonna follow the same kind of process up above. This is actually a little too deep in color, so I'm gonna come in here and remove some of this pigment. Okay, now how this process is done is by using a credit card or a flat shape, like even a palette brush or anything that you can have a flat edge upon. And all you are doing is scraping the tree. It's literally that easy. So I'm gonna come over here and get some dark, or primarily black. So you just come in here, dip your card in, and then just scrape it over. Make a little line and okay, and then come back on the other side where that tree is. Just put it in and make a little line. And this will create that look. I'm gonna say that the light source is coming from this direction. So on the left side of my tree, I'm going to have it be a little darker. Let's actually put in maybe a little one right in here. One that's not as big as these other ones, so it doesn't have just a little scrape right in here. Now, one important thing, this is probably one of the most important lessons that I've learned, is when you're painting, there's a natural ability to create what they call as a picket fence, where every tree is the same going through. So you need to have some randomness because the trees in nature aren't going to look like a fence. So for an example, these ones are about the same space. This one's a little bit wider overall. So either I need to give a lot of space to the next tree, or I need to put one really close to it. So I'm gonna come in here and try to put one, overlapping right up against this tree. So that way it looks like 2 trees kind of right close to each other, overlapping. Because trees in nature, they are not a picket fence. So we're gonna put them right here close. But this one's gonna have a little bit of it's gonna have a branch sticking off of it. This is definitely a technique you could do at home. It is literally as easy as you're seeing me do it. Just scraping a card across your page, following it up, and creating the outlines of these trees. Now, as you put in more detail, it definitely will help as well. Now, I'm also a strong component of having things escape the side of your page. Don't just have everything going up and down. Have it kind of going off here in a distance, maybe a little branch right off of here. So that way, as the observer is watching, they're more entertained in a way. You're trying to entertain your viewer, so then that way they look at it and it shows some kind of story. Now, as I mentioned, I wanted to have the left sides darker, so I'm gonna come back in here and just add some darkness right on the left-hand side, so it definitely looks like there's a shadow. Okay, now we're gonna repeat the same process up here on top where we did the background first, but now we're gonna come in through here. Let's see if that's pretty dry, and just do the same thing. Just scratch in your tree. The biggest difference between these two techniques of putting the background in first and putting the background in second is this one will have more of a uniform temperature in your picture. Meaning the greens down in the bottom are naturally going to be a part of the tree and the blues up apart are, where down here it's going to be more crisp. The white is going to stay white when there isn't. So maybe this scene down here should be more of a winter scene where you want to be able to keep the brightness of the snow, the whiteness of the season. And this might be something more of a springtime or even fall time where there's more color that's naturally in there. So let's put in a couple more of these branches similar so we can just see. One of the other tools that you can use is a old what is this? An old paintbrush stick where I literally just sharpened it down right here to a point, and you can even use that to pick up some pigment and come back in and add some sharp looking branches. I could imagine you could actually just walk outside and pick a stick up off the ground, sharpen it, and use it as well. Okay, as I'm finishing up this portion, I'm gonna let it completely dry before coming back and showing you the difference on how to add in the background, just to prevent it from having some smearing take place. But yes, you want it not just dry to the touch, but you want it what they call as bone dry, which is as dry as possibly as you can get it. Because when you re-wet the paper, you don't want it to have a case where it's going to smear. But yep, after I finish up these little details, we'll go ahead and let it completely dry. Hey, after about just a short 10 minutes with the hair dryer, I'm ready to jump back in here to be able to show the difference between doing the background first in comparison to second, with some aspen trees or birch trees. So let's jump right back into it. Okay, now down here, what I'm gonna do is with some clean water, I'm gonna put some clean water just in between the trees. This way we can come back and do the background. Now, if it's completely dry, then the watercolor should really not bleed too much through this technique. So I'm just quickly putting in some water between the trees. Then I'm gonna come back and do similar with up above, not keeping it a winter scene, but actually coming back and doing it so that they'll similar to match. So here we go. A little bit right in here and right between these last ones. So I'm going to come back in and put in some blues and just dab it in here as we go, just right along onto the edge. Dab them in right in here and let the dry or wet on wet technique take place to be able to create the look of some sky. And find your style as you're painting and finding things that you like. Find what you think you enjoy doing and do that. These are just examples of different things that are possible that you can do. There we go. We're going to pull some green up in here. Definitely I'm seeing that this one up here has a more cohesive tone of the coolness of the overall because the sky is within the trees itself. But this one down here, there's definitely a brightness of the tree because the white had been kept out specifically rather than having it be painted with the background. Someone might ask me, what do I like best? And honestly, I just love the process of painting. Comment down below what you think you like best. If you like the top one, put top in the comment section, or if you like the bottom one, put bottom in the comment section. Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are on what you like and what else I can help teach in this process. Well, as I finish this off, I hope you enjoyed this quick lesson on the difference on how to be able to do aspen trees or birch trees by either putting in the background first and painting the trees on top of it, or putting in the trees first and then being able to paint the background in afterwards. Either way, have fun exploring and trying different methods of what you enjoy. I'm going to just work and finish this off until I tell myself again, hey, you better stop and start working on something else. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you also have the opportunity to share the love. And thank you so very much for watching. See you on the next painting.